Hello and welcome to the second unit for the introduction for the SQL course for data analysis. What we're going to do in the second unit is basically to run some queries with select, but not just all the data, also making specific queries, select queries, so that we can get data which is actual for diagnostic analysis or statistical analysis. So let's jump into it and have some fun. So let's see now what we can do. Uh, in order to make this unit work, what we need to do is to open the program that I hope you have downloaded, the DB browser for SQLite. DB browser is just a program for visualizing the data that we are going to have in the SQL database file. You will probably have another kind of icons or text in your DB browser, and that's okay. The only thing you need to do if you want to have it like mine is just to go to the edit preferences, and here you can change the way it looks, the icons or the text, and to make it bigger or smaller in the font size. So it's just up to you how you want to run this program. What we need anyway is just to start with opening the database, which in my case is in this folder called freelance, where I have the orders data.db. So if I open it, I will be able to browse through two tables, one called customers and another one called orders data. The one you're watching right now is the customers one. If I want to change to the orders data, I just need to click here and I will see us this beautiful data, which I have imported from CSV. If you remember from the first unit, we had to model the data and structure the data. That is something that we can see I have already done here in these two tabs. One is the customers, one is the orders. There's the two tables. And I have already told DB browser that I want the customer name to be a text, or the email to be a text, or the VAT number to be a text. And I have already told him also that the order number, order date, buyer name, ship city, ship state, the code for the product, the description. I want them to be text too, so that I can edit them later on. So what you're watching here right now is just the schema, or how I have modeled the data. There's no data here in itself. This is just the name of the columns of the table. So in the table customers, I have these three columns: name, email, VAT number. And in the order details, orders data table, I have all these other columns: buyer name, ship city, ship state, description. And that is what I'm being able to visualize here. If you see here, we got the order, buyer name, ship city, ship state. And if I want, so I can do simple filtering here in DB browser, like for instance, getting all the orders which are just from the shipping state of Chandigarh. This is, I think, an Indian CSV, data from an Indian CSV I got, so that's why you got these names. Okay, but this itself is not so different from Excel file. I mean, these are just the rows and columns which are ordered more or less in accordance with some kind of order that I don't know, which I can filter as we have done here with the state. But it's not giving me so much information, relevant information for what I want to do, how I want to make diagnostic analysis or statistical analysis for my business. So what we're going to do is to go to this Execute SQL tab, and we're going to open the SQL file, which is called select. When we open it, what we see is that I have already written some select queries. The first one is telling me like I want to select all the rows, all the instances from the orders data table. So if I just uncomment this and I go to this execute SQL, I will get the same results that I was getting before when I browsed here to the data and when I chose orders data. So it's the same results that I'm getting. So far, no big difference, but we have already learned now how to make our first query. If I comment this out again, and I take the next one, which is called select buyer name from orders data, I'm telling the database engine, hey, I just want the buyer name. I don't want all the data that I have here in all these columns and rows. The only thing I want is to get the buyer name from the orders data table. So if I run the execute SQL, now what I get is one single column buyer name of 170 rows. So it is 170 instances of the orders data table, but selected by buyer name. What happens here is that maybe I want to use, I don't want the buyer names to be repeated because this is not telling me unique buyer names. It's very possible that there are some repeated because maybe I have a customer that has made several orders with the same name, of course. So let's go to the next one, and instead of just selecting the buyer name, let's tell the database engine, hey, I want the buyer name but distinct. Here we had 170 results or rows for this query. If I now run this distinct buyer name, I get only 148 because there were 22. There were 22 rows where the buyer name was repeated. So now I have a unique list of customers that I can export if I want and do something like sending mass mails or whatever. Okay, but what happens if I, for some reason, need it to be sorted alphabetically? It's no problem because then I can do the same query with the select distinct buyer name from orders data, but now I'm saying, hey, I want it ordered alphabetically, these buyer names. If for some reason I was going to use it for something, uh, then I run the execute SQL and I got the buyer names alphabetically ordered from A to B to C to D and so on. So this works for our purposes. Let's say now that what I want is to get all the posts from the orders data where the shipping state is Chandigarh. Because for some reason I want to check if I'm selling good in this state. It can help me to know where I have to put my announcement, my marketing, if I have to make more marketing for this shipping state or not, if it's worth it. So if I execute this one, I see, hey, I only have 3 orders coming from Chandigarh. So this place is not that popular. Maybe I need to put more marketing effort in this city, or maybe it's a city that is very little and I don't need to announce so much for this city. Let's go to the next one and say, all right, uh, I want to be aware of which customers are buying in which states, where my orders are being more than 449 crowns. So this select query is going to tell me the name of the customers that are buying for more than 449 and their shipping state. Uh, Of course, this is very interesting insights that I can get from this kind of queries. So if I, let's see, that's a problem. I just forgot to take away this one, I think. So if I run now the query, I get all the buyer names from all the shipping states where these orders are being more than 450, 449 crowns. So this is very valuable for me to know in which states the most expensive orders are coming from. Uh, but what happens if what I want to know is the total amount from the orders where is more than 450 crowns, and this is relevant data coming from 2021. I mean, because in the former query, I got shipping state, which was good to know for the expensive orders. But what I want now is to be able to get fresh data from later than 2021. The orders that I got before, which were more than 4049, could be old orders, which are not actual or relevant anymore. Uh, if I want to know how my business is doing since 2021, and I want to see which ones were the expensive ones, the good orders, so to speak, then I need to add this second condition with and. So and where go together in this way, where I put a condition after where, which has to be true or false, has to be true, yeah. And where the order date is another condition, also has to be true. So what the SQL, the DB browser is going to do is loop through all the data and check where these two conditions are going to be met. If they are met, they will be returned in this item total, and I will get just a specific information for those orders with just the item total column. So if I run now the query, let's see another problem, item total. Maybe just need to do like this. So I get now the item total from actual orders, which are later than 2021, and where it is more than 449 crowns. So this data is more relevant because it's more actual, it's more fresh, and it's still the same query I wanted to have to get the expensive orders. But what happens if, for some reason, it's not only the old orders, I mean the expensive orders, or where the item is more than 449? Let's say that I want to make a query where I get the fresh orders from later than 2021, or where the order status has been delivered. This is going to tell me not only fresh data, but also or which orders have been delivered to buyer since this database has begun or started. So if I execute now, I run the execute SQL, I get now 160 rows. So this is much more general data which I'm getting, because it's not only giving me the expensive orders, it's giving me the cheap ones too. And it's telling me all the orders that have been either delivered to the buyer or have a fresh date from later than 2022. So try to run these queries from the select.sql file, which you have attached in the channel. Try to see if you're getting the same results as I am getting. Check that you are not getting some syntax error because, for instance, you didn't write some citation quote here, or some kind of column has been changed the syntax. Run all these queries and see if they work for you as well. And the next steps for the next unit will be that you do the exercises that you have in the channel. All the exercises have to do with this select query. And also that you'll start reading for the next unit how to make modifying queries like update, delete, and what's the other one? Where are we now? Update, delete, and create, of course. So read through the literature in the channel, do the exercises, and I see you in the next chapter.